I drove around for an hour, windows down, air mixing with the war zone of my thoughts. Her words echoed. The smug expression on Lydia's face, the condescension in her tone, the way she dismissed my entire being like I was some stray dog interrupting their family brunch, it all spun inside my skull like knives in a blender. I didn't return home. Not yet. Instead, I parked in front of an old dive bar 2 towns over, somewhere we never went, where no one knew my name or hers. Neon flickered over the scratched glass door. I pushed inside, drawn by dim lighting and the promise of being invisible. The bartender had tattoos up to his throat and didn't ask questions. Good man. I slid onto the stool, ordered bourbon neat, then another. And another. By the 4th, my chest loosened. Not relief, just numbness. That's when she walked in. Tall, caramel-toned skin. Short black leather jacket barely covering her collarbones. Hair up, confidence dripping from her like it owed her rent. She didn't glance around like most women do entering unfamiliar territory. She owned the room. She sat 2 stools away. Ordered tequila with lime. I watched her in the mirror behind the bottles. She knew. A smirk crept up her lips, subtle, dangerous, like a lit match held near a fuel tank. You drink like a man who either lost something or realized it never belonged to him, she said, voice smoky, tinged with mischief. I chuckled. Something like that. She slid 1 stool closer. What was her name? Hazel. Figures. Sounds like someone who corrects waiters and yells at her mother during brunch. I laughed harder than I should have. She joined. You. She shrugged. Mine didn't hurt me. I walked away first. Why? Because men like you exist. She clinked her shot glass against my tumbler, eyes lingering a second longer than needed. She didn't blink. What's your name? Solara. Of course it was. It fit her like silk. Mine's. She interrupted. Don't care. Not tonight. Her grin dared me to lean in. So I did. That night, everything that was broken inside me didn't get fixed. It got touched, melted, scorched. We didn't flirt. We devoured. Words faded fast. Fingers replaced sentences. We left the bar without finishing our drinks, not even pretending it was anything less than need. She drove. Black motorcycle. Helmet for one. Hold tight, she warned. I did. Her back pressed against my chest, thighs gripping the engine's thunder, hair whipping behind us like fire in the wind. We tore through midnight, past alleys, bridges, stoplights. The city blurred. Only her mattered. Her apartment overlooked the river. She threw the door open, tossed keys onto the counter, and without waiting, turned to me. Still want to talk about Hazel? No. Good. Clothes disappeared somewhere between her hallway and bedroom. Maybe on the stairs. Maybe on the floor. I didn't care. She tasted like rebellion. Moved like she'd danced with temptation before. Every kiss was revenge. Every gasp was closure. Every touch, a declaration that I wasn't invisible, wasn't worthless, wasn't forgotten. She didn't ask for gentle. She wanted raw. She took it. And I gave her everything. Sometime before dawn, wrapped in sweat, heartbeats pounding, bodies tangled in silk and sin, she whispered, "Feel better." I didn't answer. Because I wasn't sure. Guilt hadn't arrived yet. But it would. It always does. Still, for the first time in weeks, I slept. No dreams. No anger. No fighting voices in my head. Only silence. And her. Wrapped around me like a secret. Sunlight cracked through the curtains hours later. She was already awake, sitting on the window ledge, cigarette in hand, bare leg dangling, unbothered. I sat up, pulled the sheet over myself. She chuckled. Modesty doesn't suit you after last night. Did we? Oh, we did, she said, eyes twinkling. And you needed it. I stood slowly, every joint reminding me I hadn't done anything like that in months. She offered me coffee. Black. No sugar. Strong enough to punch back. No questions. No strings. Just caffeine and silence. Then she leaned forward, took my hand, and traced a single line down my wrist. Don't go back there expecting forgiveness. Go back if you want war. I didn't answer, because inside I was torn. Hazel hadn't called, texted, nothing. But neither had I. So Lara drove me to my car. Helmetless, again. I didn't care. She kissed me before I got in. Deep, slow. Not goodbye. Just until. You know where I am, she said. Then walked away. Like she hadn't just cracked my world open. I drove home in silence. No radio. No thoughts. Just heat. Still on my skin. Hazel's car was parked where it always was. Living room lights on. Curtains drawn. I stepped inside. She sat on the couch. Didn't even flinch. Didn't turn off the show she was watching. Back now, she said without looking. I said nothing. Walked past her. Upstairs. Showered. Washed her scent off me. But Solara's touch. That stayed. That marked me. When I returned downstairs, Hazel still hadn't moved. We didn't speak that night. Or the next. And somewhere between my guilt and her silence, a new war had begun. But this time, I didn't care if I lost. Silence bloomed. Not the gentle kind, the one loaded with accusations never spoken, things neither of us dared admit. Hazel avoided my eyes, fingers glued to her tablet. I poured whiskey, sat opposite, waiting for some spark, any spark. But all I got was apathy, cold enough to make the drink seem warm. She finally broke the silence. You staying again tonight? Not welcome back. Not I missed you. Where else would I be? Her shoulders rose, fell. No clue. You left. Didn't say when you'd return. I took a sip. I didn't think anyone would notice. I didn't, she said. Her knife dug deep, turned without hesitation. Part of me wanted to retaliate. The other part, already gone. I stared at her. Hazel. The woman I married. Strong. Fierce. Impossible to impress and impossible to ignore. But now, she barely looked like the girl who once made me believe I could be better. She didn't ask where I'd gone. Didn't care. Solara would have asked. Hell, she would have followed me. We used to fight with fire. Now, we drifted in frost. Every meal, every shared bed, every empty laugh, just echoes of promises we stopped keeping. I slept in the guest room. Didn't even shut the door. Let her see the space between us become permanent. The next morning, I rose early. Made coffee, skipped breakfast. Hazel walked in, hair still tangled, lips dry, robe slipping off one shoulder. She looked at me like I was a painting she once admired, now faded by sunlight. You got somewhere to be? I nodded. Work, I lied. She didn't question it. Didn't say drive safe, or don't forget lunch, like she used to. Once outside, I didn't head toward the office. I texted Solara. One word. Free. Seconds passed. Her reply lit up my screen. Always. I met her in the old bookstore downtown, someplace dim, hidden, smelling like forgotten chapters. She wore dark denim, lips cherry red, hair cascading in waves. She leaned over the counter, whispering things that would make a priest combust. We didn't speak much. Just enough. Rough night? She asked, while slipping her fingers under my jacket. Colder than I expected. She smiled. Let me thaw you. That time, we didn't go to her place. She took me to a hotel, room 13, of course. She liked irony. Solara didn't just touch me. She studied, memorized, unraveled. The more I gave her, the more she devoured. She kissed like vengeance, clawed like salvation. We crashed onto the sheets like sinners in need of grace. Clothes flew. Breath tangled. My guilt begged to scream, but lust muted it beautifully. Afterward, I laid beside her, drenched in everything she gave. My phone buzzed from the floor. Hazel. One word. Dinner. I stared at it. Solara noticed. You gonna answer? I don't know. She traced my chest with one long nail. Let her cook. Let her wait. She never waits. Exactly. Solara sat up, pulled a cigarette from her purse, lit it with a smirk. You think she suspects? She doesn't care enough to suspect. You sure about that? I'm not sure about anything anymore. She blew smoke toward the ceiling. I've seen this before, she whispered. Married men. Desperate to feel alive. They wander into my world looking for something, not even they can name. And do they ever find it? Some do. Others. She smiled. They drown in it. I left shortly after. Hotel mirror caught my reflection. Shirt wrinkled, neck kissed raw, heart hollowed out. Hazel had set the table by the time I returned. 2 plates. 1 wineglass. I sat. The chicken tasted bland, rice overcooked. She watched me eat, not saying anything. Finally, I asked, "Why dinner?" She shrugged. Felt like doing something normal. I swallowed slowly. Nothing about us is normal anymore. Her eyes met mine. Because you stopped trying. I froze. You think this is my fault? I know it is. I slammed the fork down. Your mother called me an embarrassment. She's not wrong. I laughed bitterly. Then why feed me? Why pretend? She stood abruptly, voice raising. Because despite everything, I thought maybe, just maybe, you'd come back and be the man I married. Then you're as delusional as I am, I snapped. She slapped me. Hard. I didn't flinch. She blinked, horrified, not because of the hit, but because I didn't react. That scared her more than the argument. I hate what you've become, she whispered. I don't even know who you are anymore. She stormed upstairs. I remained seated. Later that night, while scrolling through unread messages, I saw one from Solara. No words. Just a photo. Her lips. Slightly parted. Redder than usual. And that tattoo on her thigh. Visible, teasing. I stared longer than I should have. Hazel was 2 doors away, crying into the pillow she never used when I wasn't home. And yet, all I could think about was Solara's mouth. That night, the line between betrayal and freedom blurred completely. And I no longer cared which side I stood on. Rain began halfway through Thursday, falling with rhythm too precise to be natural. I watched droplets chase one another down window panes while replaying last night's chaos. Hazel's slap hadn't hurt, but its meaning lingered, wrapping invisible fingers around my throat. Solara messaged again. Midday escape. 2 words. Just enough to stir buried instincts. Instead of replying, I grabbed my coat, headed toward a district I hadn't visited in years. No memories tied there, no judgmental glances, no pity-filled nods from neighbors who once thought we were love's poster couple. She was already waiting inside a dim cafe, tucked into a corner with hot cocoa and untamed lipstick. That mouth had haunted every quiet moment. Her legs crossed, unbothered, impatient. She sipped slowly, eyes never leaving mine. You look starved. I am. Solara slid a napkin toward me. Handwritten numbers. Room key inside. No words exchanged. We left. Elevator groaned upward, floors passing like excuses. As we reached the suite, she pushed me in, slammed the door shut, stripped silence away with hands that demanded answers I couldn't provide. She didn't ask questions. Didn't need promises. Only skin, sweat, sighs. We fell together, hungry, unrepentant. Her fingers gripped my soul harder than Hazel ever had. My name, whispered through clenched teeth, sounded sacred again. But just as I surrendered to ecstasy, something inside twisted. Hazel's face. Tear-stained, confused. Waiting at home, wondering where I'd gone. Guilt stabbed me mid-thrust. Solara noticed. You're not here, she said. I want to be. But you're not. I rolled away, breathing uneven, heart strangled by contradictions. Then leave her, she said. Simple. Brutal. I flinched. She's broken. So fix her, or walk. Don't split pieces between us. I couldn't answer. Didn't know what truth to speak. Back home, Hazel hadn't moved from the couch. Same clothes. Puffy eyes. Remote on her lap. She didn't look up. I paused by the doorway, unsure which man she saw standing there. Her voice cracked the air. Was she good? My throat locked. She turned, face empty of everything except exhaustion. Don't lie. I won't. Then answer. She wasn't you. Hazel stood slowly, arms wrapped around herself like armor. That's supposed to make it better. No. But it's honest. Tears didn't fall. Not this time. Instead, she nodded. You slept with her because I stopped loving you. No, I said quietly. I did it because I stopped loving myself. She blinked. That truth pierced deeper than lies. You could have told me. You wouldn't have listened. She stepped forward, closer than she'd dared in months. I hated you after that fight. You just let them destroy us. I know. And I punished you. I let you. We stood inches apart, years between us. Hazel touched my face, so gently it hurt worse than screaming. Do you want to fix this? I don't know how. Her voice dropped. I'm still your wife. I stared into her, through years of birthdays, miscarriages, apologies, promotions, betrayals. We'd lost more than we admitted. She leaned in, kissed me. Not possessive. Not forgiving. Searching. I kissed her back. For a moment, fire returned. Our clothes found the floor. Bodies remembered old languages. We danced between grief and need. Until I whispered something I hadn't said in forever. I missed you. Hazel stopped, forehead pressed against mine. I don't believe you. Then she left the room, naked, shivering, alone. Next morning, her suitcase sat by the door. Keys beside it. She waited in silence. What's this? I need air. Time. Space. You're leaving. For a while. Where? Anywhere you're not. Her words were sharp, final. I watched her leave without stopping her. Maybe I couldn't. Maybe I shouldn't. Solara texted later that afternoon. Did she find out? I typed slowly. She always knew. She didn't reply. That night, I slept in our bed. Alone. Sheets still smelled like her. My phone buzzed. New message. Solara again. One sentence. You still owe me the truth. Weeks drifted. Not in waves, but gusts. Wind stole hours, days. Hazel remained gone, silence echoing through the halls she used to fill with humming and slippered footsteps. Photos still sat untouched. Her favorite coffee mug stayed above the sink, just out of reach, like her. Solara hadn't messaged since that last sentence. You still owe me the truth. And she was right. So I wrote it. No poetry. No embellishment. Just pages filled with raw honesty. Confessions spilled from pen to parchment. My failures, cowardice, fears, guilt. I mailed it to her, unsigned but unmistakably mine. A goodbye only clarity could deliver. Then I changed. Therapy. Not for her. Not to win anything back. For me. I needed to understand why I allowed my world to crumble, why my pride grew louder than love, why lust filled voids instead of confronting the wounds. I stopped drinking. Stopped blaming. Started walking again. Grocery runs, small talk with strangers, fixing door hinges Hazel used to complain about, all became rituals of healing. I didn't chase her. Didn't beg. I worked on being someone worth missing, someone I could live with when no one else was watching. Then, 2 months later, my doorbell rang. It was raining again. She stood outside, soaked but radiant. Hazel. Her hair longer. Eyes softer. She held no umbrella, no suitcase. Just a folded note. I stepped aside. She walked in. We didn't speak. I made tea. She warmed her fingers near the stove while I poured. Then she handed me the note. My hands trembled opening it. One sentence. I read your letter. She sipped the tea. Smiled faintly. I wanted to hate you forever, she whispered. I wouldn't have blamed you. But I didn't. Silence grew again. This time, it didn't sting. It cradled us gently. I didn't just leave to escape you, she said. I needed to remember who I was. Before all of this. Did you find her? Hazel looked up, eyes glistening. I did. And she missed you too. My heart beat something strange. Hope, maybe. She reached across the counter, touching my hand. Did you stop seeing her? I nodded. Before or after I left? Before. Why? Because I wanted to be someone you'd forgive, even if you never returned. Hazel stood slowly, approached me, stopped inches away. Then prove it. I waited. For how long? For always. We didn't kiss immediately. Instead, she hugged me. Tight. Warm. Healing. Our lips found each other later, not in hunger but peace. We didn't rush. Didn't strip. We made love slowly, rediscovering every scar, every freckle, every vow that never needed renewing but now felt brand new. In her arms, I remembered who I was. In mine, she felt safe again. Afterward, we lay tangled in golden silence. Hazel whispered, "You still snore." I chuckled, kissed her forehead. She looked up. "And I forgive you." The end.